Episode 121. 3 sales questions every marketing strategy should include for better CAC, customer acquisition costs. Most sales conversations fail long before the pitch even begins. It is not because of pricing, competition, or even the product. It is because most salespeople walk into meetings without answering the 3 questions that every buyer is thinking. Miss them and your message falls flat. Nail them and everything changes. In this episode of Mastering Local Marketing, we break down the psychology behind high-performing sales conversations and how smart businesses turn marketing strategies into real revenue. Whether you are focused on customer acquisition, local marketing, or growing a small business, you will learn how to position your offer so prospects feel urgency, clarity, and confidence without sounding pushy. If you want stronger sales meetings, faster decisions, and more predictable business growth, this episode will change the way you think about selling. He's Matt Hansen, digital marketing professor at Purdue Northwest. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, this week I've been more of a sales professor, so it's been an interesting process. We've got some students that are going to some different competitions, and Dr. Mitch has brought me in to kind of help with some of them this week, and it's been interesting because you're participating in some things that you don't normally jump into, but I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. You come in there and you're playing the buyer and you're waiting for them to uncover, all of these different things that they should be going after. And I've had a couple different sessions at this point where I've sat down with these students and, I let them go. The first one I was dealing with, I was supposed to be in the automotive aftermarket, which is, a space that I was in, a lifetime past. But it was just interesting to kind of hear how they were approaching different things, and I'm wanting to give them the things that we're going to talk about today. So that's what's kind of sparked this. That's why we're here today. But yeah.
Once again, this podcast is marketing for the small and medium-sized business and just things that can make you effective and more efficient in your marketing. The number one thing is you got to believe that you need marketing. If you don't, then turn the channel right now. But if you have a small to medium-sized business, like 600,000 of them here in Indiana and many millions across the state or across the country, it's always incumbent upon you to generate revenue, and that's how you do by listening to this podcast. What are some of the cool things you were hearing from these students?
Well, it's interesting because they come in all prepared, right? And I feel like I'm the polar opposite. When I go into a sales negotiation or even a first initial discussion, I don't take anything. It's just question after question after question. So it was interesting kind of to see the two different groups and how they approached it, right? So the first one really kind of had all of these things they wanted to talk about, right? The sheet, let me tell you all the bells and whistles, all the wonderful things that we have to offer. The second one that I dealt with asked a bunch of questions, right? So completely two different approaches. But let's go back to the first one, right? So they had all of these bells and whistles. Here's all the things that we can offer you. We've got this and this and this and this. And I stopped them about 5 minutes into it. And I said, all right, you're telling me all of this stuff. You've come in, you're giving a presentation to me, but you're not really asking me what I need, right? So what is it? You got to ask me these questions. You got to find out what's the fit, what's the pain point. And I use the term pain point all the time. Anyone that's around me, I think I've given that out a million times. I talk about it all the time, and even my bosses at the university have used pain point, and they're not in marketing. So, it's one of those things where you have to ask a million questions and you have to uncover what is the pain point that they're going through, right? So the conversation that we had yesterday, we were going, and I don't want to give any details of it because they're going to competition today, but they were asking a bunch of different questions, and they'd hit on something that I was struggling with. I'm the role play buyer here, but this is something that I was struggling with. And then they would move past it. I'm like, okay, you need to write that down, right? That's a pain point. You ask a few more questions. There's a second pain point. A few more questions. There's a third pain point. Okay, now which one of these three pain points am I going to just agitate, right? And that's what every sales process goes through. We're looking for what is it that our potential new customers struggling with, and we've got this problem. Maybe you're losing money in you're not bringing in enough sales, or maybe you are a manufacturer and you're looking at shipping boxes, or you're looking at e-commerce solutions, or all these different things. Like, everything's got a cost to it, right? We were talking yesterday, and they were simply talking about the packaging of a product. And I said, okay, well, that packaging causes additional issues, right? So if something goes bad, that's costing you money. Then you've got additional labor, you've got transportation costs, you've got gas, you've got like time, all these different things, right? And when you start to understand the pain points of your customer, and this could be, something as simple as somebody that walks into your retail shop versus somebody that's buying a large amount of product for, redistribution or whatever it may be. Understand the pain point, agitate it, and start to get them to realize, like, okay, I do have this problem, and this person across from me has a solution to it.
One of the things that we talk about, like, say, when we talk in well over 100 episodes, we've addressed a number of times about social media platforms, and one of the things that you say on a regular basis is pick one. Mm-hmm. So now you're preparing to go into the sales strategy. You can't bring 18 options, no. Right? And no. I think that's what you put on here was, but you got to bring something.
Right.
You got to bring something that is left behind, something that anticipates their pain point. But I already know the answer to this. But how important is simplicity in your message and in your material?
Yeah, we can't complicate things, right? So you go to, let me put it this way. You're going to go pick a paint color, right? I'm going to paint my walls white. There is no white color other than what comes in the container, right? But if you go look at the paint chips for white, there's got to be 30 of them at least that all have different colors, right? It's alabaster and bright white, and I know these because we've recently done this, right? There's 30 different colors, and you bring them all home, and they have shades of yellow in them. They have shades of red in them. They have all of this stuff, and
some are latex, some are oil, some have a sheen, some do not.
I mean, yes. At some point you just go, ugh. You put them up on the wall, and you're like, oh, I'm walking away.
What's the best seller? Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I'll take that one.
Pretty much. But that's what it comes down to. Like, you provide all of these options, and people just don't want to think about it. Give me a couple options that I can pick from and go, right? Many people will walk in and they'll have a prepared package ready to go. And I think that's good. You've got a starting point in your mind of where you want to go. But I think you need to listen to your customer. So there's been many times where I've walked in, and this is what I do on the agency side, is literally I walk in and I go, what are you guys looking to do? What's your biggest pain? What's your biggest pain point? Well, we can't get this. And I just start digging deep into that, right? Like, well, what does it cost from? If you had, more staff, more money, more tools, what is it that's causing the friction here? And then what I do is I start to build that package together and say, okay, well, what I've heard is X, Y, and Z. If we put a package of X, Y, and Z together, that solves all of those pain points, correct? Well, yeah. And then you just start asking a few more questions to see if there's anything else you've got to pack in there, right? But the easiest sales that I've done in the past have literally been, I have nothing to sell you yet. Let's figure it out. And I heard one the other day, and it was basically it was a quote on Instagram, and this guy said, "I'm going to build you a house. I'm going to be the most expensive. I'm going to take the longest, but I'm going to make sure it's right." And the guy goes, "I instantly signed that document right there." Think about that, right? So if somebody walks into you and says, "Oh, we're the cheapest, all this da 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 da," okay, why are you the cheapest? That's triggers in your mind. This guy comes in, I'm the most expensive, I'm going to take the longest, but I'm going to make sure it's right. If you're building a house, you want your house right. It's the same thing with anything that we're doing here. We're building trust and reliability with the person that's across from us. They may know us, they may not know us, but if you're coming in cold, you've got to build that trust, right? So we start to talk about the pain points, and then we've got to go to the second part of it, right? What is that pain point costing you right now? So, if you're struggling with, let's go back to the manufacturing thing that we were talking about.
Is our producer eating her lunch?
She's eating candy, I think, at this point.
I was brought candy by someone today because they remembered that I like a certain candies, and I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, because all the Valentine's Day candies are on
So
sale.
somebody brought it for you?
Yeah.
You got your own fans now? That's nice. That's sweet.
Every time I produce of notoriety, they usually bring props of some sort, and usually sometimes it's flowers. So they're like, "Here you go," and I'm just like, "Oh, thank you so much." So yeah,
we have
I get nice gifts from people. It's so sweet.
we have as our producer Adriana Alvarez. She is a senior at Purdue Northwest and is in Matt Hansen's podcast class, but I wanted to address that maybe in the next one. But to the pain point, I think that the small and medium-sized business person that wants to sell their thing may not know what that is.
Okay, so let's think about this. Give me a product that you've recently purchased, besides boots, which you're not wearing today.
Yeah, I'm walking a grandkid. Gosh, that's a really good one. Boots. I think we bought a vacuum cleaner.
Okay. So with that vacuum cleaner, why'd you buy a vacuum cleaner?
Because the old one petered out.
Okay. How was the old one? What did you like about it?
It was super expensive, and I bought it when my kid was 10 years old. She's 32 now, and I bought the best vacuum you could buy because she had asthma.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is the best vacuum?
It was I think I bought it then at $7.99. I think it's $1,200 now.
Okay.
So I mean it's hypoallergenic, all that stuff.
Okay.
I didn't want that. I wanted the exact opposite.
Okay.
She's moved on years ago. I just wanted something. We don't even have that much carpeting. We just have mostly hardwood floors. So I wanted the most powerful and kind of cheapish one. It just went, just sucked everything up. It didn't have to be fancy. It just had some power.
So how did you define the strongest, most suction from something that you couldn't start in the
I just
store
turned
or in
them
the
on.
box?
They plugged them in.
Okay. So they plugged them in. So the sound is what
Yeah.
triggered it. Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. So
I have my pain point was that I got grandkids now and they're eating they're eating candy that people bring them, but they got crumbs and all that stuff around on the carpet, and it gets in there, and then you can actually hear it sometimes when you're walking in the middle of the night in your bare feet, and you could feel crumbs and stuff. And I go, hey, we need something that just goes roar and just grabs that stuff out of there.
okay. So you said they plugged it in for you so you could start it.
They just turned 3 of them different one. Here, this is this one. This is this one.
Was it a plug or was it a portable one, battery one?
Well, I think most of them were portable, but they plugged them in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have the ability to go without the cord.
One of them does. Yeah.
Okay. Did it have a hose on it?
No, it was just a upright.
If it had a hose on it, would have been better.
No.
Why
Not
is that?
for me, because I wouldn't use it to clean out the car. I mean, I live right by the.
No, but let's say they drop a piece of cereal on the floor. Is it easier to take the hose and just hit it real quick, or is it easier to crunch over it?
No,
And get
it's
multiple?
actually not, because it's just another accessory. I knew what I wanted.
Okay.
I wanted to grab it off the wall and go, and then put it right back. That's it. Because actually, I went to a dude's house and somebody dropped something, and he just came out and put the thing back. And I was like, wow, that's really cool.
So it's funny, you're talking through different stages of your life. We had I don't know if the vacuum that you're talking about is a Kirby, but we had a Kirby. and it's this gigantic monstrosity. I feel like it's made out of 100% steel.
Is it a canister or an upright?
It's an upright, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. But
Yeah,
the thing
Kirby is,
weighs
yeah.
more than my
Yes.
wife does. Yeah.
Kirby's been around for a long
Yeah.
time. They make them, yeah.
Yeah, great vacuum.
Yeah.
But now she is to the point where she has the Dyson portable, stand-up, simple. So we have like 3 or 4 different vacuums, depending upon like what she's doing. Again, the things are changing based on the lifestyle. So what you're saying is, it's grandkids, it's not tons of carpet. It's quick, easy, great.
It's plugged in now. We didn't wind up buying the full upright. We wound up buying the stand-up one that also has a battery, but it's plugged in the kitchen, and you just grab it and you and you put it right
Yeah,
back.
so you're looking for convenience, quick, easy,
Yeah.
right? So you don't need the 300-pound Kirby that has the cord and
Not anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, you have to understand, you have to ask all of these questions to your customers to go, what is your lifestyle? What does this look like? Because, a 300-pound Kirby is not going to make sense for you at this point, just like it doesn't make sense for us either, right? Like, we're getting rid of all of our carpet. It's, we're putting hardwood floors and everything. So doesn't make sense for that customer. And that's what we're saying is, like, what are the pain points? Your pain point is the fact that you have a Cheerio sitting on the floor every 3 seconds that you need to vacuum up, right? It's not, I have all this carpet that I have to vacuum every couple days because of whatever, right? So you've got grandkids, you've got kids, you've got dogs, you have cats, you have dust, you have, if you open your windows and you're in a new construction area, like, there's all these different things that you can start to ask, right? So those are pain points, but also we have to look at it from the flip side. What is this costing you? And I know a vacuum's not necessarily costing you anything, but if you are in the business space, what is this costing you long term? So, marketing, right? If I go in there and I start to talk to you about marketing, and you're like, "Oh, no, I can't put more than $100 a month into it." Okay. But have you looked at your marketing? Do you understand that it brings in more people, that it in the long run will give you more revenue and lifetime value and all this other stuff? No, I haven't looked at that. Okay, well, if we can start to define what those numbers look like, what those response rates would look like, the number of people that will walk in reality, you're leaving a significant amount of money on the table because you're unwilling to invest into your marketing. Well, yeah, but I have $100. Okay, that's fine. We're talking about the cost, the opportunity cost, the lifetime value of a customer, all these different things. So we're agitating the pain points, but we're also talking about what's the cost of it right now of you not doing something versus doing something, right? So it's costing you $100 a month, but if you were to go out there and spend $1,000 a month, how much more in revenue is going to come in the door versus where you're at today?
All right. So, speaking as a small and medium-sized business, I have not had much success when I have to convince people to market.
Right.
And we've grown so quickly that we had so little time. And as you well know, we're only now turning to marketing. But our saying was we're only going to go with people that are kind of already predisposed. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just kind of taking the other side. I don't want to be sitting there talking to somebody that wants to spend $100 why they should spend $1,000. Right. So I don't mind talking to them about, like, well, come to us, spend money here. We have the best, most positive advertising, and it's a really cheap CPM. And you know what? We got the best product. I got that against somebody else's product, but I have trouble doing that, what you're talking about. So how does the small to medium-sized business person handle that challenge? I don't really think I need your product.
Okay. So what happens if you continue going down the path you're going? That's the question to the $100 person. What happens? Are you happy with where you're at right now?
Most small to medium-sized people will say, all right, I really like listening to you, but I'm giving you the reality from that other side is they're worried about is cost.
Of course.
You know what
They're
I mean?
holding on to it.
They're holding on to it, and as long as they're making a little bit of money and they're still in business a lot, especially in this environment. So I guess what I'm saying to you is that how do you overcome that hurdle? Because I have not been able to, and I won't even address it. I won't. If you're thinking should you market at all, then we're just done. Okay. And I have done that. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have this. If you ever want to market, call me. But until then,
Yeah, I think those people are not necessarily in your target audience. Right?
Yes.
That's not who you're targeting. So, I mean, the whole sales process starts, like, you can't sell. I mean, you can sell everyone, but, like, you don't want to sell everyone.
There you go.
Because you're not
That's what I wanted
Yeah,
to
you're
hear.
not going to put that much energy into going out there and knocking on the door and saying, hey, like, I'm here again. Let's talk. People out there will know me. Like, if I'm showing interest in your business, it's because I see real potential in what you can do.
When you're selling them marketing services.
Correct. And I say that to them up front. I go, listen, I'm here because I see opportunity. If I didn't see opportunity, we would not be having this conversation. If you do not want to grow, I completely understand. That's fine. If you do want to grow, I can give you a path moving forward.
There you go.
Yep.
I like that. So to back for I'm representing basically the listeners and the viewers here, most of them. So we agitate for the pain point. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the pain point is that I really don't want to spend any money. Okay? And you can't get over that one. But once you agitate for the pain point, and it can be painful in and of itself, because a lot of times that person that you're trying to sell to doesn't know what their pain is.
Right.
They can't define it. Then, of course, you're like, all right, for this pain point, I have a solution. For pain point B, I do have some solutions. I'll be honest with you, I do not have that part for pain point C. Say the guy out here sold me a dumpster, and I'm like, I know him, but he was like, well, what are you looking to do with this plant? And I said, well, I want a place to throw the garbage, but I really kind of want someone that cleans up the whole area and dumps it into that garbage on a regular basis. He goes, hey, listen, I'll bring that here. I'll pick it up every day, whenever you need it. But I don't offer that service. I know a couple people do. Here's a couple names,
Yep.
Right? And that was really kind of cool. But he had the solution for the pain point that we found. He did not have the solution for the other pain point.
But he found it for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that helped me, gave me that, and then I wound up buying the dumpster from him.
Exactly.
So it was good. But sometimes they do have that pain point, and you're like, hey, listen, this is what I hear from you. This is what my services are. If we do this and you do spend that $1,000, we can make some of your pain disappear. And that is probably what you exactly say those words.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, every small business owner, there are nights, and I'm no different, right? I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, let the dog out, my brain starts going.
Oh.
Right? We've all been there. If you're listening to this podcast, your brain does the exact same thing over and over and over. If you wake up in the middle of the night,
don't wake up.
Don't turn the light on. Keep your eyes closed. Whatever you got to do, because your brain's just going to go, right? But what we're thinking about are the pain points that we're struggling with our business and how we solve those. So if somebody were to walk in that door, and I always say this, I say this commonly, if somebody walks in your door and says, for 10% of your revenues, I'm going to take all your problems away, wouldn't you do that?
Let's end it there. Let me sum it up for him. Okay, there's three main questions for better customer acquisition costs. One is, why does this matter to you, this product? And there's your pain point. Agitate for that pain. Second, what happens if you don't buy? There's a cost there, right? And that's part of that. Now, you also have to say, why now and not later? And that's part of the easing of the pain. So, 1, agitate for the pain. 2, provide your solution. And 3, make the pain disappear. Dave Kuziak, a roofer, I just got off the phone with him last night, and he was talking about, he's a sales guy. He's got to reach certain revenue, for his year and so forth. He basically, I'm like, well, what do you? He's like, oh, I got to go to Aldi. I got a sales appointment at 10. I got one at 11:30, and I got one at 1. So no, I can't meet you for lunch. And then he starts talking, oh, I got to go to this guy. I know how it's going to go, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have to listen. I'm going to have to listen. I'm going to have to listen. And then maybe I'll be like one of 4 bids. And, he goes through this process selling people's roofs.
Yeah, which he should be doing online anyway. That's where the roofers are going at this point. They're using, basically satellites to measure and provide real-time data and estimates instantaneous instead of going through that whole process.
Oh, you really have to just stick a... When you were a kid and some guy was riding by in his bike, he had a brand new bike, he was all excited about it, did you grab one of those, grab a branch and just stick it in that back tire to just slow it down?
Did.
There's so much more to say. I'm sorry, by the way, I cut you off that one time. I have now been on the radio for about 4.5 hours, so I'm losing my concentration. But Adriana is not. She's keeping us together. Matt Hansen is always spot on. Tell people, mastering local marketing. Until next time, see you later.